The walls are closing in on Ilhan Omar, rightfully so. And the Somali community out there in Minnesota, they have already started being deported. And you see them crying and not wanting to leave. And yeah, you want to stay here. But should have thought about that before committing over $1 billion worth of fraud and smuggling that money back to the Al-Shabaab terrorist group in Somalia.
وعليسا وكجرا انتو قفوا امبسي لزعل لكورو إلاك بغض لسوال عند علي. I don't want to be here no more. I'm so tired of being here. This place. This is where I'm living.
Now in this video, y'all, I got some information that you may or may not have been up on. I'm gonna go into Ilhan Omar's father. Wait till you find out about the executioner. And I have the proof of her marriage to her brother, the actual documentation. And so we're going to hear from President Trump. We're going to check out those clips and wait till you see the video clip that really breaks down the whole Ilhan Omar family, or should I say they go by like Saeed Elmi or whatever the name is. It's one of those long five names, if that even makes sense what I'm saying. But we're going to go into all of that. So just rock with me. And as you can see right here in this article, it says we should throw her the hell out of the country. Trump goes off on Ilhan Omar for marrying her brother. Now, I want to show you this one clip first because this is mind-boggling. So in this clip, we're going to listen to what she has to say. And wait till you see what I follow it up with. Listen to this. And for my white brothers and sisters, don't get offended because what you're going to see right after this is going to make you laugh your you-know-what off. Check this out.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. I would say...
now, you heard Ilhan Omar talk down on the white man and say that the white man is this, the white man is that, the white woman is this. But here's what's funny. Did you know that Ilhan Omar's husband is white? That's her husband. As a matter of fact, not only is he white, but he's also looking at some speculation because allegedly Ilhan Omar's husband, when she got certain campaign donations in the millions of dollars that she got in, she ended up paying his company allegedly like $3 million as a consultant. Ilhan Omar reports net worth of up to $30 million just months after calling millionaire claims ridiculous. Now, you hear them always talk about billionaire. Back in the day, I have a clip somewhere of Bernie when he would talk about millionaires and billionaires.
In our great country, millionaires and billionaires should not be able to buy elections.
Now, how did I get the money? You're right. I wrote 2 best-selling books, including this book on capitalism. It was New York Times bestseller for a while. And also another book was a youth book. And I make, I don't know, $175,000 a year. And that's more or less how I became the zillionaire that I am.
The Democrat apparatus would do that. But all of a sudden they stopped. Elizabeth Warren stopped it. Bernie Sanders stopped it. You know why? Because they all became mega millionaires. So now the millionaires aren't the problem. No. Even though there's way more millionaires than there are billionaires, it's those billionaires we got to go after. See, if they keep pushing the line, gullible voters will fall for this crap. She's sitting up there spewing about a white man while married to one. She wanted the great white pipe, as my man Greg Foreman says on Black Conservative Perspective. And do you know how funny it is on how many of these Democrats, AOC, she talks about racism and white people. Her fiance is white. So they get up there and they spew this propaganda to their voters. And I guarantee you, if the nation knew, especially the people that support her knew, that she spews all this hatred towards white people, but yet she's married to one, she would lose her support overnight. Well, I don't know. We talk about Democrat voters and their IQ is not that high. They always tout their educations, but book smart, street dumb. That's why they were able to pull all types of BS over on them, while us old MAGA and Republicans be like, y'all are falling for this crap. Say what you want to say about Republican politicians or about President Trump. They're articulate, they speak right, and they give it to you straight up and down. Whether you like it or dislike it, you at least know where they stand. And even Malcolm X is quoted as saying that the Democrat is the worst type of person. You can't trust them because they smile at you standing behind civil rights while the whole time working to snatch the very same thing from you that they use to engage with you. Now listen to what President Trump has to say.
Frankly, don't need their people coming into our country telling us what to do. And you're talking about Now talking about like Somalia, where you have a congressman who goes around telling everybody about our Constitution, and yet she supposedly came into our country by marrying her brother. Well, if that's true, she shouldn't be a congressman, and we should throw her the hell out of our country.
Now, President Trump also said that he spoke to the president of Somalia. And you know what he told him? He doesn't want her back in that country. She's not welcome back in her country. So she comes over here talking all of this BS. Now, here's what President Trump was talking about. This is the actual marriage license, and her brother, Nur Saeed Elmi Ahmed. So it's Nur Saeed Elmi Ahmed. And then right here, we got Ilhan Abdullah Omar. So his name is Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi, excuse me. And you got Ilmar Abdullah Omar. Marriage license. Boom. And you're going to hear later in the video how they were able to come up with the fact that they were brothers. Matter of fact, I'll just tell you, a member of the Republican Party, they were able to get DNA. And they did DNA testing on it. Because I believe the brother was picked up on the charge of something, and they swabbed him. They tested the DNA. It was 99.999999998 likely that they were siblings. So we talking about it wasn't even 0.2. It was like 2 millionths of a percent likely that he was not her brother. Meaning, it would have better odds. There is no chance that he's not related to her. Bottom line, point blank. So now let me show you a picture of the brother. This is her brother. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that like button, because I'll never ask you for a cash app, a super chat, or a donation. But you hitting that like button and the hype button will help the channel a great deal. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And once you do, make sure you hit the notification bell and select all. YouTube has issues sending notifications out, but when you select all, YouTube will make sure that you get notified when I upload new videos. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Matter of fact, you can see it better like this. That's the brother. And we got the marriage licenses right there. Her smiling, so happy. She's so happy to be in the picture after marrying her brother. Now, I want you to listen to this propaganda she spews. And then after this, I'm going to hit you with the real deal as we go into Ilhan Omar's family. It is mind-boggling. But check this out, what she has to say.
In jidadkeennii aan wada dhisanno, anigu waan ahay gabar Mareykanka laga doortay oo Kongresska Mareykanka ku jirto. Laakiin waxaan ahay gabar Soomaaliyeed, gabar idinku jinsi ah, gabar idinku af ah, gabar idinku diin ah, oo hadde qof iyadoo da'yar wadan.
Now she says taken from her country. Make sure you remember that. She says she was taken from her country. And on a factual basis, she's right. But wait till you hear why.
Keedii laga kaxeeyo wili xiise u qabto in maalin wadankeedii ay ku noolaato oo dadkeedii wax ay la wadaagto. Marka alxamdulillah waxaan rajaynayaa aniga iyo ilmahayga in aan hadde ku barbaariyo iyagana ilmahooda ay ku barbaariyaan dhulkii aniga aan ku soo koray. Taasna haddii ay suurtagelayso waa hadde shaqo badan inaan wada qabanaa hadduu Ilaahay yiraahdo oo aan ka dhignaa dhulkeena dhul barwaaqadiisa dadka oo dhan ay dareemi karaan oo ay arki karaan oo ay ka wada faa'iideysan karaan.
So she's a Somali girl. You know that she didn't call herself an American citizen. She said she's an American migrant, but she's a Somali girl and and she wants to raise her children there. And she wants to, after getting that $30 million that she made since she's been in Congress, she might be able to fulfill that. Oh, I'm sorry. If she goes over there 9 times out of 10, her life is going to be taken. And her husband, you know, hey, listen, buckshot karma is what he'll catch. Now, here's what President Trump had to say. This post has gotten 75.6 million views, 500,000 likes, 96,000 retweets, 48,000 saves. This message is making its rounds, and rightfully so, because she talks all of that crap about our country, but he's right. Her country is destroyed, is ran by terrorists. But she comes here talking about our Constitution and how badly she's treated. Wait till you see this next clip. But check this one out, because the clip after this, check this out.
Was first made a few years ago, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar tried to knock it down by calling it absurd. Then when the media turned up a wedding certificate, Omar went silent, refusing to make any comments at all, saying she does not talk about her family or personal life. Well, now others are talking, like Abdul Hakim Osman, a prominent member of the Minneapolis Somali community, who is now on the record telling the Daily Mail that in 2009, Ilhan Omar married her biological brother, Ahmed Saeed Almi, so that he could legally remain in the U.S. and attend college. At the time, Omar was married to Ahmed Hersey, but it was a religious marriage, meaning there was no Minnesota state record stating that she and Hersey were husband and wife. And so marrying her brother would allow her sibling to get his legal immigration documents. But Mr. Osman isn't just saying that Omar married her biological brother. He also gave the Daily Mail the name of the Christian minister who married them. That minister reportedly says she does not want to be involved or interviewed about Congresswoman Omar.
So you got Letitia James, who said her father was her husband when she did her first mortgage back in the early 80s or mid 80s. Then you got Ilhan Omar literally marrying her blood brother to fraudulently get him in the United States. And let me say this. Right now is the open enrollment period for healthcare, which is why I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video and partner of the channel, Chapter. Chapter is helping seniors right now who are confused. Some are just new to having to get Medicare. Others who already have Medicare but want to make sure they got the best Medicare plans available. I highly encourage you to reach out to Chapter. Chapter has highly skilled, unbiased agents that are helping seniors make sure that they've got the best Medicare plans available, because it sucks to find out your prescriptions are no longer covered and your doctor is no longer in network on the plan you currently have. The phone call is absolutely free, and it could go as quick as 20 minutes. In less than 20 minutes, you can find out to make sure you got the best Medicare plan available. And the great news about it is that Chapter has been helping seniors save as much as $1,100 a year, making sure they have the best Medicare plan. So I'm sure you can find something to do with an extra $1,100 in your pocket. So don't waste time. It's extremely important to protect yourself and protect your health. So give Chapter a call or follow the website at askchapter.org/realpolitics and make sure you've got the best Medicare plans available. There are some people who have been worried and concerned, especially with the attacks that are taking place. And they're like, oh my God, it's happening. Just remember this one thing. When the founding fathers made this country, they were students of history and just coming, from knowing about Britain, and at that time still doing business and being like a province of Britain. So they knew that historically that governments would come in and be tyrannical and take over the people, which is why they created the Second Amendment. Now, in America, there has been no country in the history of the planet that has ever been armed like the American people are. Let's forget the American military. If you took all the men and women in this country that have arms and you group them together, we're talking about that's in the millions, many who have extreme skills. Then you lump the military in with that. There is a superb fighting force. Don't forget about the fact that anybody trying to invade, that's hard enough coming from the outside. And anybody who tries to rise up inside, they are in for the fight of their life. That's why the Democrats work so hard to remove the Second Amendment, because the moment they take our weapons away, the moment that we allow that to happen is the day that our true freedom is done. They're already trying to strip certain civil liberties away, but we give up the right to bear arms. We make it's not about the criminals. I mean, they're there, but we give up that right. It's the government that we have to be worried about. So I'll tell you, have no fear. Are there going to be some radicals that might pop up and some things happen? Hopefully we don't have anybody that loses any more lives. But if that happens and the American people raise up, there is no military on this planet that can come in and that will handle what we got. Think about something. Even when America goes over to, let's look at big Russia fighting against Ukraine. Now, yeah, it might have wiped out a lot of the men, but those people are fighting. They're not paid soldiers. These are people fighting for their survival. That's a whole big different thing than somebody that's being paid to fight. Let's think about the Vietnam War. We went in there and man, they didn't have the artillery that we had, but they had people. You had 90-year-old women willing to ride a bike to carry straw to some other group so they can rebuild bridges that might have just been kaboomed and blown up. So imagine somebody coming here. We got 320 million American citizens. So let's take 120 million of them out. You got 200 million. Out of that 200 million, can you imagine 50 to 75 million people that have weapons? And again, I'm not even including the military. It will be a tough day for that regime, and it will be over for them, which is why they're trying to do it covertly. They're trying to take people's minds. If you can convert people's minds, then it's over. But that's not happening here. That's why I really do appreciate how they did this country. There is no other country on the planet that's as free as we are. Even with the civil liberties we've lost, there's no other nation on this planet that's as free as we are, have the resources that we have, not one. And the size that we are, not one. So just rest assured, don't be so concerned. It'll be a dark day for any group that tries that here. But check this out, because this is the video clip that is mind-boggling.
Minnesota Democrats, media, and the Department of Justice have continually ignored strong evidence supporting the fact that Ilhan Omar may be directly involved in tax, marriage, and immigration fraud.
In 2002, Omar married Ahmed Hirsi in a religious ceremony. Hirsi is the father of Omar's 3 children, and is pictured often with Omar and their
Is it me, or does he look like her brother? I'm not going to stop it again, but that's supposed to be the first husband. But wait till you see the brother picture.
children on their campaign website.
In 2016, Minnesota journalist Scott Johnson received a tip about a post from a Somali community website containing marriage certificates alleging Omar married her brother, Elmi, in February 2009, in order for him to immigrate to the U.S. legally, despite the fact she'd been married to the father of her children, Hirsi, over a decade.
This clearly proved that any such second marriage might be bigamous under Minnesota law, as well as fraudulent.
Later in August 2016, further investigations into legal documents and filings in Minnesota by journalist Priya Samsundar uncovered evidence supporting the allegation that Ilhan Omar married her brother, Ahmed Nursed Elmi, in 2009.
The 2009 marriage license to Elmi lists the same address as one filed for a Minnesota business 3 months later in May 2009 for a one-to-one cafe by Hirsi, the father of Omar's 3 children.
That means Ilhan Omar was living with both her real husband, Hirsi, while still married to her brother, Elmi.
Omar has continued to deny the allegations, dismissing them as baseless rumors and fake journalists on bigot blogs despite mounting evidence.
High school record evidence also support the claim that Elmi is indeed her brother and graduated in 2003 from Arlington Senior High School in St. Paul, Minnesota, with enrollment records that state he was born April 4th, 1985. The same birth date listed on Omar's 2009 marriage certificate to Elmi.
As troubling details mounted against Omar, members of the Somali community were threatened into silence through intimidation tactics and physical violence on themselves and their families still back in Somalia. In an obtained Facebook Live video from August 18, 2016, a woman identified as the Associate Chair of the Somali-American Caucus speaks. And in translation, she states in plain terms that any Somali that talks about Omar's personal life, including marriage discrepancies, is an enemy of the Somali community. Credible sources in the Somali community have stepped forward and provided Alpha News with information in exchange for anonymity, along with members of the 2003 class have also identified Elmi's father as
Nursed Elmi Mohammed, the same man who calls himself father to Ilhan Omar.
So as you see, Nursi Ahmed Mohammed is the father. And guess what? We found him. So check this out. This is from the Somaliland Chronicle. Ilhan Omar's father, the Isaac genocide, the truth revealed. Let me enlarge this some so you can see this as best as possible. So it says, between 1981 and 1991, the Somali military, in which Colonel Nur Omar Mohammed, Ilhan Omar father, served as a senior officer, executed a brutal and systemic campaign of genocide targeting the Isaac people of the modern-day Republic of Somaliland. This dark chapter in Africa's history, which was known as the Isaac genocide, was a merciless military campaign that resulted in the killing of over 200,000 Isaac civilians. It also involved widespread forced displacement, scorched earth destruction of the second and third largest city, Hargeisa and Boreo, a bombardment of almost every other single city, town, and village in Somaliland, and 2 decades of large-scale red terror-style tactics against the civilian population of Somaliland. Wow, look at that. Those are graves found. While she's over here talking about our country and Constitution, this is from her country and at the hands of her father, allegedly. It was carried out through relentless aerial bombardments, planes, repeatedly strafed fleeing refugees, summary executions, burning of entire villages, deportations, land mining of water sources and homes, Holodomor-style government-enforced man-made famines, the Dabadir drought, and the use of paramilitary units such as the Somali Armed Forces, Dabar Guantai Isaac, the Isaac exterminators, composed exclusively of non-ethnically Isaac soldiers to enact mass unalivings under Somalia's military direction. Eyewitnesses' testimonies documented mass executions by firing squad, forced disappearances, looting, mass torture, mass surveillance, the R word of women used as a weapon, curfews, and mass unalivings of civilians, even in areas with limited resistance or lawful liberation movement activities, such as the Berbera, where thousands of government soldiers were stationed. Isaic civilians across what was then the Somali Republic were detained and executed in mass by Somalian government execution squads led by colonels like Ilhan Omar's father. Wow. Across the country, civilians were forced from their homes into dehumanizing conditions, including, what is this thing here? I want to get this crap off here. Oh, okay, man. Across the country, civilians were forced from their homes into dehumanizing conditions, including many kept in dungeons, underground prisons, and pits. Even famous Isaic, such as Somaliland's most renowned poet, Hadrawi, did not escape this torture and years of detention under the most brutal and unsanitary conditions imaginable. Even the Mogadishu, deep inside neighboring Somalia, and almost 1,500 kilometers from Somaliland's capital of Hargeisa, Isaic civilians were being unalived in their homes, in the city, and on Mogadishu's beaches. The Jazeera massacre of 1989 is a particularly brutal example that is etched in history. At the heart of this brutal military regime was Colonel Nur Omar Mohammed, Ilhan Omar's father. His rank, authority, membership of the regime, the Arud clan, and 10 plus years of having climbed the hierarchy in Somalia military to the rank of colonel placed him squarely in the Somali military's command hierarchy during and at the height of its Isaic genocide campaign. Based on his position, loyalty to the regime, and his role in the military, it is virtually certain that he had intimate knowledge of and involvement in the planning, conception, direction, and execution of the genocide. Both legal and historical standards, despite Ilhan Omar's team's spin in numerous recent articles which have been placed in left-leaning online publications, the logical conclusion that Ilhan Omar's father was almost certainly intimately involved in the Isaic genocide is unmistakable. It is supported on the balance of probabilities, and the totality of circumstantial and inferential evidence available indicates. More critically, that it meets the threshold that this was the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And let me see if it goes to the point of where they got out, because why Ilhan Omar must now come clean. Ilhan Omar must publicly acknowledge her father's role in the Isaic genocide, issue a formal condemnation of this atrocity, and actively support international recognition of the Republic of Somaliland. Only through transparency and public moral accountability and redemption can she reconcile her public advocacy with her personal history. Failing to do so makes her an electoral liability to the Democratic Party as she continues to bring them into a disrepute and cost them votes. They were forced to leave because apparently when the power shifted and he was somebody that was heavily involved, they had to go. And he took his whole family with him. That's how she got here. Let me see if I can find. Oh, here we go. A gilded childhood and inherited privilege and ethnic hatred. Ilhan Omar's early life was spent Somalia, in an environment she often remarks about gleefully and with fondness, suggesting a sheltered and privileged upbringing. As the daughter of a colonel in Saeed Barre's military, she likely benefited from the regime's elite status. Regime officials included colonels and their immediate family members like Ilhan Omar, lived gilded lifestyles and were probably in many ways indirect beneficiaries of the genocide. It is highly plausible that she, even as a child, benefited materially or socially from the outcomes of the genocide, the seizure of Isaic assets, the redistribution of power and wealth to regime cronies like her colonel father, and consolidation of power by non-Isaic elites. In fact, Ilhan Omar is named in the context in the Palgrave Handbook on left-wing extremism, where serious and unanswered questions are raised about her claim to be a valid refugee. It has increasingly become apparent that a more accurate reinterpretation of her personal history is the daughter of a genocide heir and war criminal who lived a gilded lifestyle as a child of the regime elite, who was potentially a beneficiary of genocide, but once in the West, reinvented herself as a liberal refugee victim. There you have it, y'all. She is fake as a $3 bill. And I know you already knew that, but I just wanted to bring this information and share some real deal stuff. So This video already went a little longer than I expected, but in the comments, tell me what you think about it. And I want to dedicate this video, especially looking into the father, to Tammy out of Minnesota. She sent me a message and was letting me know about things that are happening in Minnesota that the media isn't covering at all. She lives there, about people who have passed away that were in these fake fraud programs that they had, were taking the money and letting people die. Or about the fact that Ilhan Omar's father was a genocidal maniac. And that's what prompted me to do the research on this. So thank you, Tammy. I won't say her last name as far as for privacy, but I salute you, my lady, and I sent you a message. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you. If you've watched the video up to this point, I want to thank you from the top and bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate you for watching. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. And if you aren't subscribed already, subscribe. Most importantly, make sure that you stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.